Hey, I'm Kyle from Animistic, and I want to talk a bit about the psychology of animism. So, Western psychology recently has gone into looking at children, how children form their experiences of the world, imaginary friends, and speaking to trees, and all these things that kids do that adults don't do. And a lot of psychologists, I think, now that kids are born with this natural animistic thinking of the world being enchanted around them, of being able to talk to trees, being able to talk to the air, being able to talk to a river, being able to personify the more than human world. And when you enter school, that gets drilled out of you because that's not something that fits into this reductionist, mechanistic, strictly objective paradigm that we teach in school. And this animistic thinking is something that has really been suppressed in the West. And since the Enlightenment, in the late 18th century, the Western world has despiritualized the universe. And the result of this has been the massive destruction of the planet. And even the destruction of within societies. The amount of addiction you see in a country like Canada, the United States today is unbelievable. It's almost normalized in a sense. And at every level of the West today, you have this disharmony, this imbalance that threatens to basically, you know, lead to extinction of modern people. And the true survivors will be the hunter-gatherer people that can survive through massive climate change and disruption. And I think, though, it doesn't have to be that way, that people can redevelop this animistic connection to the world around them. But I think it really starts with their education system, because our education system, especially with the postmodernism today, is becoming more abstract, more deconstructive of everything. The past, deconstructing all this stuff and all this ideological thinking, whether it's capitalism or fascism or Marxism, it's all a different form of insanity in a way. And in terms of destruction of the natural environment, communist or Marxist societies are just as bad with their industrial machines as capitalist societies. So really we need this whole different way of thinking. And I think the psychology of animism is not this abstract thing. And I think when we're connected to nature, our neurosis declines. When we feel awe in beautiful places in nature, our sense of self, our sense of this ruminating egoism kind of diminishes, and we realize we're small, but in this beautiful way, and that we're part of something bigger. And I think that experience can only really be felt in nature. It's not this thing that can just be guided. Someone can be guided while sitting on a chair with visualization. It's something that needs to be this connection that's rebuilt. So animistic thinking, I think, is very, very valuable. To look at the world in more animistic ways, that's living, that there's spirit in it. And living in this disenchanted, despiritualized universe that's taught in school mostly today is a very depressing kind of worldview. And it's no wonder people are so addicted and depressed. And we often, a lot of us feel that way because, it's just not the way we are evolved to live. The modern way of life is so disconnected from our roots. Often, like in the modern way of life, we're disconnected from the past, from our ancestry, from our lineages, from classical knowledge from the ancient civilizations, the real knowledge that was rooted in something. But more and more, a lot of our knowledge is leading to our destruction. The more educated people are, about these problems, do the problems get better? We have to get our hands dirty. We have to rebuild communities connected to the land, eco-communities. We have to really learn about the forest and learn about the forces of nature. That's really the only way to redevelop this animistic connection. And there's this book of nature that we don't study enough in our schools, in our society, in our civilization anymore. And books are written on trees, on the paper of trees, but there's a much more interesting way to learn in the book of nature, really learning from the trees that are alive, from the living creatures in the more than human world. And I think we can recover that childhood sense of awe and wonder, those childlike lenses that we had when we were children, when the world was beautiful and enchanted. And we can rekindle that. I think that's a big part of what meditation is about, seeing things directly for what they are, not just through our own biases and our judgments and our labels, but to really connect in this deep animistic way with the world. So I'd love to hear how you, rekindle animism in your life and you feel more connected to nature. What do you do? Please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. All right, enjoy the forest. Peace.